To begin, view the interactive restaurant guide that you'll create as you learn to make interactive projects in Adobe Animate. Double-click the 08n.fla file in the Lesson 8 08n folder to open the animation. Choose Control Test to see the final project. The project opens in your default browser. You can ignore any warnings that appear in the output panel. The project is an Imaginary Cities interactive restaurant guide that runs in the browser. Viewers can click any button to see more information about a particular restaurant. In this lesson, you'll be working in an HTML5 Canvas document to create interactive buttons and structure the timeline properly. You'll learn to add JavaScript code to provide instructions for what each button will do. Close the 08end.fla file. Double-click the 08start.fla file in the Lesson 8 08 start folder to open the initial project file in Animate. The file is an HTML5 Canvas document that will play in a browser. The document includes several assets already in the library panel, and the stage has been sized properly. Choose File, Save As. Name the file 08_workingcopy.fla and save it to the 08 start folder. Saving a working copy ensures the original start file will be available if you want to start over.
As a reminder, I don't want yours to look exactly 100% like this one. Feel free to change colors, names, etc. so I can distinguish between yours and the actual finished product.
You'll understand the relationship between different states and button appearances as you work through this exercise. Choose Insert New Symbol. In the Convert to Symbol dialog box, choose Button from the Type menu and name the symbol Gabble Lawful Button. Click OK. Animate puts you in symbol editing mode for your new button. In the Library panel, expand the Restaurant Thumbnails folder and drag the graphic symbol Gabble Lawful Thumbnail to the middle of the stage. In the Properties panel, set the X and Y position to 0. The upper left corner of the small Gabble Lawful restaurant image is now aligned to the registration point of the symbol, marked by a small cross in the center of the screen. Select the hit frame in the timeline and choose Insert, Timeline, Frame. To extend the timeline, the Gabble Lawful image now extends through the up, over, down, and hit states. Insert a new layer. The new layer will accommodate an image that appears when the user's mouse hovers over the button. In the new layer, select the over frame and choose Insert, Timeline, Keyframe. Animate inserts a new keyframe in the over state of the top layer. In the Library panel, expand the Restaurant Previews folder and drag the Gabble Lawful over Info movie clip symbol onto the stage. Move the movie clip symbol until it's over the lower part of the button. When guides appear along the bottom and side of the object, let it snap into place. In the Properties panel, under Position and Size, it should show an X of 0 and a Y of 217. The gray information box will appear over the restaurant image whenever the mouse cursor rolls over the button. Insert a third layer above the other two. We'll use this layer to bind a sound file to the down state so the button will make a click sound when it's pressed. Select the down state of the new layer and choose Insert, Timeline, Keyframe. A new keyframe is inserted in the down state of the new layer. Drag the sound file named clicksound.mp3 from the Library panel to the stage. The beginning of the sound's waveform, appearing as a thick orange line, appears in the down keyframe of the top layer of your button symbol. Select the down keyframe where the wave appears, and in the sound section of the Properties panel, note that Event is chosen from the Sync menu. A clicking sound will play only when a viewer presses or clicks the button. Click Scene 1 in the edit bar or the back arrow to exit symbol editing mode and return to the main timeline. Your first button symbol is complete. Now that you've created one button, you'll be able to create others more easily. You'll duplicate a button here, change the image in the next section, and then continue to duplicate buttons and modify images for the remaining restaurants. In the Library panel, right-click the Gable Lawful button symbol and choose Duplicate. You can also choose Duplicate from the Library panel menu. In the Duplicate Symbol dialog box, choose Button from the Type menu and name the symbol Gary Button and click OK. Bitmaps and symbols are easy to swap on the stage and can significantly speed up your workflow. In the Library panel, double-click the icon for your newly duplicated symbol, Gary Button, to edit it. Select the restaurant image on the stage. In the Properties panel, click Swap. In the Swap Symbol dialog box, select the next thumbnail image, the Gary thumbnail, within Restaurant Thumbnails, and click OK. The original thumbnail, shown with a dot next to the symbol name, is swapped out for the one you selected. Because they're both the same size, the replacement is seamless. Now select the Over keyframe on Layer 2 and click the gray information box on the stage. In the Properties panel, click Swap and swap the selected symbol with the symbol called Gary over info and click OK. The instance of your button in the over keyframe is replaced with one that is appropriate for the second restaurant. Because the symbol was duplicated, all other elements, such as the sound in the top layer, remain the same. Continue duplicating your buttons and swapping the two instances inside them until you have 4 different button symbols in your Library panel, each representing a different restaurant. When you're done, take a moment to organize all the restaurant buttons in a folder in your Library panel called Restaurant Buttons. Now you'll put the buttons on the stage and give them names in the Properties panel so your code can identify them. On the main timeline, insert a new layer and rename it Buttons. Drag each of your buttons from the Library panel to the middle of the stage, placing them in a horizontal row. Don't worry about their exact position because you'll align them nicely in the next few steps. Select the first button, and in the Properties panel, set the X value to 100. Select the last button, and in the Properties panel, set the X value to 680. Select all 4 buttons. In the Align panel, deselect Align to Stage, click Space Evenly Horizontally, and then click Align Top Edge. All 4 buttons are now evenly distributed and aligned horizontally. With all the buttons still selected, and in the Properties panel, enter 170 for the Y value. All 4 buttons are positioned on the stage correctly. Now you can test your movie to see how the buttons behave. Choose Control Test. You can ignore any warnings that show up in the output panel. Note the gray information box in the over keyframe appears when your mouse cursor hovers over each button. and pressing your mouse or trackpad button over each button triggers the clicking sound. At this point, however, you haven't provided any instructions for the buttons to actually do anything. That part comes after you name the button instances and learn a little about coding. Next, you'll name each button instance so that your code can reference it. Beginners often forget this crucial step. Click an empty part of the stage to deselect any of the buttons, and then select just the first button. Type gebelawful_btn in the instance name field of the properties panel. Name the other buttons GaryGary_btn, IlPiatto_btn, and PierrePlatters_btn. Animate is very picky, and one typo will prevent your entire project from working correctly.